Hello, welcome to a new Spiny Rambles. I'm reviving an idea that I had on my Movie Mackle channel, which was a channel it's kind of just me doing this bullshit before I did Spiny. There wasn't much reference of a blue hedgehog on that channel, but it did happen from time to time, so a little less prominent there. But a lot of the style of videos I do on this channel were present on that one. And one of the last things I tried to do on Movie Mackle before abandoning it, my poor son, was just I wanted to talk about movies from every single year I've been alive until now. And so I logged as many as I could on Letterboxd for each year that I remember seeing. It's possible that I'm forgetting about one. And I'm just going to talk about them. And honest to God, I love film. I love film so much, but I don't watch enough movies, and it's because I try to fucking balance all of my time. I try to check out games, I try to check out shows, I try to check out movies, I try to check out a lot of web shit. I think web shows are honestly what I spend most of my time on, just weird, even if it's not a show, just weird shit online, because I think that's always just been my preference, just seeing what anyone can put out there, where film can be a hard thing to get into. It's not undoable. I've seen some pretty amazing success stories from people who were able to do it with, and when they were able to do it their way. But online, it's a lot more guaranteed. It's going to be your way, just under the circumstance that you either don't have a lot of money or you don't know what the fuck you're doing. But as long as something truthful still comes out, I think it's worth it. But the bottom line, why I'm stalling so much, is there's not that many movies listed on any of these years for the most part. For 1995, the year I was born, we've got a solid, 24? Yeah, we have 24 movies on here. And a lot of them are fucking previously discussed on Hollow Victories, a podcast I do with Matt. But I'll try to talk about them. I did do this video already. This was the only one I did on Movie Mackle, 1995, and I'm redoing it because I've added stuff, and it's just like, fuck it, start over. If we're bringing this to a new channel, let's start over. Maybe I'll quit again, and I'll just have two fucking videos of me talking about the same movies from 1995 again. But I'm gonna go from worst to best. I'm gonna have how I have them listed here, and I don't know how. A lot of these are going off of memory. This isn't like a true ranking. It's not even fair to call it a 1995 ranking because too much shit is excluded. And I also have created a pretty big watch list. And now my phone is not letting me look at my Letterboxd. I have it up on my computer, but I want to look at the watch list on my phone. Why did it kick me out? I've been signed in on this phone for 6 months. Why did it just kick me off today? Jesus Christ, Letterboxd. Because I signed in on my computer? That doesn't make sense. That's not a good explanation. Anyway. Is there anything from 1995 added to the watch list? It kind of doesn't look like it. Or is this... Did they switch up my list to be alphabetical order? No, I don't think they did. Well, now I'm just confused. I wanted to look at it by year, but they shuffled my fucking thing up, so now I'm not going to be able to look at it by year. Or I'm just going to have to fucking look up... Do films by year, I guess? By year, release date, the 90s. Show me 95. Is there anything here that I want to add? Maybe not. Maybe that was the issue. There's just nothing I actually really care to see from this year. I haven't seen Braveheart. Is that worth it? I'm sure there's good movies from this year I haven't seen. There's just not... Muting that. There's just not like some that have like any like strong desire here that I don't already have covered here. GoldenEye maybe. I don't know. I don't see much here. I see more shit that's probably gonna get forced upon me in Hollow Victories. It's like a Mortal Kombat movie. That probably wasn't good, right? I'm doubtful. I'm very doubtful. Some TV show movie shit too. Alright, well, you know what? Let's just go for what I actually have here. Nothing for... I'm not adding anything to the watch list for 1995. If you have any suggestions, I'll take them. What bullshit came out when I was born? We got Showgirls, which we did on Hollow Victories. First episode I ever did... first time I ever met Matt in person. We did a live-action episode for that one. And I did not enjoy this film, and I did not think I would enjoy this film, and I've heard things about the film. I think the poster is something else. I'll give it that. I don't remember like enjoying some of the sets and enjoying some of like the presentation, but God, it was a movie where I didn't like any character in the damn thing, and I like movies of flawed characters. I love Tar. It's a movie about a very flawed woman who you could even argue is just downright evil. I've enjoyed characters from TV shows like Pierce from Community or BoJack Horseman, where they're just not great people, but they're either entertaining in like a funny way or entertaining in an interesting way. I like movies and shows about flawed people, but they have to, they have to check off something. They have to be funny or they have to be interesting. And to be interesting, I think they have to be understandable or identifiable in a way. Not that you have to fully understand them or relate to them, and you probably shouldn't relate to them, but there's just something that you can identify with their personality, with what they've been through, with why they do what they do. Again, I'm not saying connect with it. I'm saying identify it. Like either there's something that makes sense there. In Showgirls, I just didn't identify anyone. I didn't like anyone. I didn't enjoy spending time with them. It wasn't funny. It wasn't trying to be funny. I sure hope it wasn't trying to be funny because it certainly wasn't. And I can compliment some of the filmmaking, but I can't. It's not worth it. There's no shots in that movie that made it worth it. This is definitely deserving of last place. We've got Waterworld, which honest to God, maybe should be ranked a little bit higher, at least higher than like the next 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 movies. Because I really do appreciate this film's attempts at filming the way they filmed it. This seems like it was one of the hardest fucking movies to film ever, because they were actually filming on these like giant fortresses that they made over water. Like the fucking production of this movie sounds like it was a goddamn nightmare. And there's some really cool sets in this movie. There's some really cool filmmaking in this movie. It's just dull. It's just a really dull story. It's just really dull characters. I don't really want to watch it again, but unlike Showgirls, I can say that if I had to pick between the two, so this was another Hollow Victories option. It wasn't paired with Showgirls or anything like that, but I would say I would definitely rather watch this one because the filmmaking is kind of worth it. It is kind of worth it to watch it one time for just like how insane some of these sets are and how difficult it would be to film on fucking water, like just constantly moving around. Constantly trying to keep your balance on these different platforms. Like it's insane. And there is a lot to admire about it. But it's also confused. It doesn't have its characters then at all. There's supposed to be a relationship in Waterworld between, trying to remember names right now, and I'm bad at it. So I will just click Kevin Costner. There's supposed to be like a romance between him and like the lead and lady, and it's not there. It's not there. In fact, it actually seems like really horrible at points. It seems like they have like a really horrible thing going, but the movie still tries to paint it in like a positive light. It's just really despicable people in this film. You don't have anyone to root for, and again, it doesn't fall under that interest and type of bad person. You know, I mean, it gets closer than Showgirls does again, but I think this movie should be like ranked higher because I have it below Pocahontas, Napoleon, Casper, Fistful of Fingers, Balto, Canadian Bacon, Tommy Boy, and I'd say it deserves to be above all of those. I don't know why I have it ranked so low. I think it's just because it's long. But there's at least things to Waterworld to appreciate. We'll talk about the ones we just listed. Pocahontas. Look, it's kind of on there because of what people say about it. I have not seen this movie since I was a kid, but I remember really enjoying the colors as a kid. I remember liking like the little cartoon raccoon and all that. But from what people have described of this movie, it probably belongs down below, but I'll put it above Showgirls because I can at least say it looks nice, and Colors of the Wind is a nice song, but I'm willing to believe that this movie is not very good. I won't give it a definitive ranking or score until I watch it again, which I am going to for another ramble I'm doing. That's taken forever just because I'm not really focused on it. Because I'm going to do a ramble on every Disney movie. I'll just say it, because I don't know why I'm hyping up a ramble. Who gives a shit? It's just me talking like this for fucking 7 hours whenever that gets released. But I've been just doing it one movie at a time, and I've been spinning a wheel randomly to keep it interesting. I don't want to go in order. I don't want to know what's next. I want to get Frozen 2 before Frozen 1, which happened. But I'll eventually land on Pocahontas, and maybe I'll love it. Maybe I'll be the fucking Pocahontas simp, and I'm going to be saying everybody else is wrong. It's not problematic in the slightest that they took this real thing that happened, this horrible thing that happened to this woman, and turned it into a Disney cartoon. No, I bet I'll be this film's #1 defender. I'm calling it right now. No, I'm sure it's bad, but it looks nice. I'll give it that. But I mean, that's kind of the standard, especially this was like the fucking Disney Renaissance. This was like their time to shine. Napoleon is just a fucking puppy movie that I liked when I was a kid. It's cute. He gets up in a little hot air balloon, and then he sings a song.
Unless I dream, unless I try, how will I know how far I'll fly?
And then it's just him trying to get home. And I got it as a VHS with another puppy movie that's on here. The other puppy movie, though, is like the twisted and fucked up one, the dark one. The one that's going to make you feel things. The one that's going to make you're going to sit up, like laying in your bed at night, staring at the ceiling. It's going to fuck you for life. But we'll get to it when we get to it. Napoleon's just kind of a lighthearted little puppy movie. I think those are like both Easter gifts. They were like one in my Easter basket, one in my brother's Easter basket. And I don't remember which of us got which. But the other one I'll defend a little bit because I like the other one. Napoleon, I liked it when I was a kid. I remember watching it a handful of times, but it's definitely nothing special. I guess a childhood memory is special. Maybe you shouldn't take that for granted, but you know what? I'm done talking about Napoleon. We're going to move on to Casper. I remember the Nostalgia Critic review better than the actual movie. This one never really stuck with me. I really loved the Casper short when I was a kid, where he's just trying to make friends, and then he makes friends. No one wants to be fucking friends with him, though. Then he makes friends with a fox, and the fox fucking dies. I think it gets run over or something, and then Casper's just fucking crying, and it's the most depressing thing ever. But then the fox comes back as a ghost, so it's like all wells end well. But yeah, it's just it's just a fucking animated short about look at fucking Casper, the stupid fucking loser that no one likes. Oh, you made a friend. Well, guess what? He's fucking dead. It's just like, god damn. Just one blow after the other in that. The live action one, I don't remember. It's on here. It's on here because I definitely watched it. I remember Doug Walker running around the streets and at a convention screaming Casper as he tried to catch Casper. So maybe was it worth it for that? I'm going to say yes. It was. We got A Fistful of Fingers, which is the first Edgar Wright movie ever. It's not really even known as his first movie by a lot of people. That would be Shaun of the Dead. But no, Fistful of Fingers was technically his first. I don't know what type of a release it had. Buying it was an option for a while, and maybe it still is. I don't know. I think maybe they did like a special 20-year anniversary thing at one point. And last year would have been the 30th anniversary, so maybe they did something for that. I don't know. The first 30 minutes of the movie are pretty damn funny. It's like pretty charming to see like his roots too, to like see what film like really got him started. But I can't say that it stays good the entire time as much as I like Edgar Wright. And as much as like his later works has meant to me, like Shaun of the Dead or Hot Fuzz, or honestly The World's End, I'm kind of coming around on that one being my favorite, even though it's like, it is definitely the least popular one of the three, but I don't know. I just like the character. I like the characters, and I like the more emotional side that movie has, because the main characters in that are pretty depressing.
It never got better than that night. That was supposed to be the beginning of my life. All that promise and fucking optimism. That feeling like we could take on the whole universe. It was a big lie.
And I kind of like that, depressing mixed with humor. I don't know. That's my shtick. That's my style. And The World's End understands that. But A Fistful of Fingers, it's like, it's cool to look back at just to see what his first feature was. But it's also like, it's really funny for 30 minutes. And then it's just, the gags just start to get old and they're less frequent. Like the first 30 minutes is so fucking quick with the jokes and the gags, and it just cracks me up. I was watching with friends and we were fucking, like, there were tears in our eyes during parts of that first like 30 minutes. But then I remember like during the last hours, like just a lot of silence, and I almost fell asleep. And yeah, it's just not, it doesn't stay good. It doesn't stay good. Because what they choose to focus on in the latter half is like, it's not good. It's not good. It's just boring. It's just a dull movie. It's just an amateur film now and nothing else. Balto. That's another one I watched as a kid a lot. Even like a home video. There's like this home video that I saw where I'm like, you hear on the screen, like, I think it's like the bird character says, Balto's back. And you just see me staring at the screen. And that's like the most glued to a screen I've ever like actually looked back and saw myself as. Have I ever looked like that? Looked at a screen like that? Like I did there? Again, probably. I saw Nirvana the band, the show, the movie the other day. And I think I probably looked the fucking same as I did as a kid watching Balto in that just yesterday. But when I watched Balto as a kid, I was fucking attached to it. Like, I loved that movie. And now it's a movie that I haven't watched in such a long time that I don't really remember it. I think it got direct-to-video sequel treatment. I know it's like loosely based on a real dog, but of course they had to add shit to it. It's probably not that good, because I kind of remember the tropes they do. The ways they try to make it like a silly movie for kids, and it feels like they're just kind of trying to copy what everyone else was doing rather than just embracing what it could be. But that's animated films, especially ones that are targeted at kids or families, are the films that fall into that trap more than anyone else, for sure. Canadian Bacon, Hall of Victories movie. It was Michael Moore's political comedy, and he's a much better documentary filmmaker than a comedy filmmaker. I'll say that much, but could be worse. You know, you got John Candy in there, and he's kind of just pleasant to see. He's just kind of funny to see. I'm normally on board with that. So, you know, there's redeeming qualities about it, but Waterworld should have been ranked higher than it. Tommy Boy, finally, like, this one I didn't see for such a long time. Like a few years ago, my cousins were over and they had it on, and I watched the whole thing, and it made me laugh a few times, but still not my cup of tea. It's another one with like a beloved comedian from the era who didn't live much longer after that. Chris Farley. And I enjoy some Chris Farley, but the movie itself is just kind of like mediocre comedy. Maybe I bet there's some people out there who really love it, but I can't really, you know, it's got its moments, but it's a very, very dull story. And I feel like what I've learned more and more as time has gone by from watching some truly great comedies is the story doesn't have to be dull. The story doesn't have to be a copy and paste of something else. And that's what Tommy Boy is. It's just a copy and paste plot, and it's boring. But I think you go there to see it because you really like the comedian they picked to star in it. And it's, you know, Chris Farley's a good pick. Batman Forever, it kind of gets some points for just outlandishness. They're borrowing some of the sets from the previous film, so it still looks kind of nice. But it's also a little bit goofy and over the top. It has a lot of camp. I did end up enjoying myself watching. It was another Hall of Victories movie. It's not good per se, but it's perhaps not that bad either. Tank Girl, another Hall of Victories pick, a really early Hall of Victories. Fucking Hall of Victories took up a lot of this 1995 list. It's a good little watch. That Tank Girl, she gets it done. No, not really. It's okay. I don't know. We did a whole, like I said, if you want to hear more in-depth stuff, we did a whole podcast on that. But I don't want to just dismiss. It's so pointless to do this if I'm just going to point at these movies and said, oh, I talked about this one before, go watch that. Oh, I talked about this one before, go watch that. And I'm here talking about it now. I like some of the shots. I like some of the sets. I like some of the costumes, even though they're fucking terrifying, like the fucking kangaroo people. Tank Girl herself is not a horrible character to watch. She is mildly entertaining. There's some really nice 2D animation in the film, even though it is short-lived. The film is super unfocused. The film is not, like, I don't think it's structured very well plot-wise. It feels like we're just trying to come up with reasons for, like, one crazy scene after another. But it is a movie that is trying to have fun at the same time. It could be having fun and telling a cohesive story in a fit-in way, while still having fun. So it's not really an excuse, but is there fun to be had in the movie? Yes, there is. It always has been one of the higher ranked Hall of Victory movies, because we watched some true shit on that show. And this one does have some good qualities to it. I don't know if I'd recommend it unless you really like Tank Girl. If you're like already aware of the character and like, oh shit, there's a movie. I think if you're a fan, there's a great chance you will be disappointed in it, because I don't know what the fucking comic has to offer, but I have to imagine it's not what this movie gives you. But I mean, you could do worse. You could do worse. You could do worse with like mainstream comic book characters. So there you go. We got Fluke, which was the super dark and twisted and fucked up puppy movie I mentioned earlier. Because the movie opens with a guy dying in a car crash and then he reincarnates as a puppy, but he remembers his past. And then as that dog, he gets adopted by the family he had before he died. And that's the movie. I don't know, though, as a kid, that was really interesting to me. That was like I was watching all these cartoons and puppy movies like Napoleon, and then you put in Fluke and they throw that at you, and it's like, you know, maybe it's not much now, but as a fucking 5-year-old, that was a lot. But I enjoy it. It wasn't even a lot in a way where I was like traumatized. I liked it. I think this is where I was getting my urge to watch, you know, fucked up movies where horrible things happen. I enjoy exploring uncomfortable situations. I enjoy exploring characters who've had to go through shit. They've had a lot to overcome. And Fluke is a movie that has a pretty sad story attached to it, while still being a cute puppy movie. But it feels like maybe aimed at a slightly older demographic than what Napoleon was for. Because Napoleon's like a movie that's for like actual toddlers, and Fluke is probably like a kid could watch this. I think a kid could watch this. The car crash scene is a little bit disturbing, but it's not like graphic or anything like that. And then you have a story that's like, it's an introduction to a darker story that a film could have, but it's also doing it with cute puppies and animals, so it's still keeping it like lighthearted enough to where I think a kid could watch this and enjoy it. And I did. I thought that the animal stuff, the stuff with the talking animals, was fun, but I was intrigued by the story because I hadn't seen a movie really do that yet. I mean, that's not even fucking entire Lion King. Lion King was a year before this, so we're not going to talk about it during this, but I mean, I'll talk about it in the Disney Ramble. I love that movie. Lion King went harder than this one did. So yeah, I think Fluke is fine. I think Fluke is fine for a kid, even though it covers, slightly more uncomfortable things. But yeah, I was intrigued by it. I was always very intrigued by the movie. I have fond memories of it. I have not seen it in a long time, but I remember it much better than Balto or Napoleon or Pocahontas or Casper. Like, it's a movie that has actually stuck. I remember a lot of scenes. I remember other characters. I remember his buddy, who also dies and reincarnates. Reincarnates again, because he has a buddy who is like another animal who dies, but then he reincarnates a second time at the end of the movie, because I guess they didn't want that death to be permanent. Death does have, I will say that in this film's universe, death does have no consequence. I mean, I guess the consequence is maybe you enjoyed being a human and now you have to be an animal, but you do seem to just be able to keep coming back as a different species, and you get to remember everything you did from your previous lives. You know what? That doesn't sound too bad, actually. I'd be okay with the reality being the Fluke reality. Major Pain, watched it one time with my dad, and I laughed. And I don't remember it too well. The scene I remember the best is the ending where he's shaves a blind man and his seeing eye dog, and then he's just laughing. And then there's also like he has like this fantasy scene about what life settling down could be like, and they play out like a really over the top scene. I'd be willing to watch Major Pain again someday. I remember laughing at it a lot. It's just been a long time since I've seen it. Does anyone else see Major Pain? Is this a good movie? Is this a fun one? I don't remember. I remember it being funny, but maybe it shouldn't be ranked higher than the iconic Fluke when I don't actually remember it that well, because me not remembering it that well could probably say a lot about it. But I mean, yeah, I remember laughing, and it wasn't like I watched this when I was a kid. I think I watched I think I was underage. I think I was in high school, but I was getting older. You know, I was definitely getting older. This one was fun though. I'll say I can say that for sure. Ice Cream Man, a pretty recent one. We did a Clint Howard. Goddamn, Clint Howard. By the way, did anyone see the new Dr. Bees episode where they made a fucking Clint Howard reference for the Clint Howard pinata filled with bees? I loved that. That was a really respected reference on my end, because Clint Howard is the fucking king of Hollow Victories. We've talked about so many movies he appeared in on that show, but he's always the good part of the movie. Either the movie is pretty enjoyable and he's the lead, or he is the one part of the movie that works. Clint Howard is a fucking legend in my eyes. And it really wasn't like that until I watched these movies with Matt for Hollow Victories. I knew him from My Name is Earl, and I guess the Dr. Seuss movies, but I kind of even forgot that he was in them until I rewatched them for Hollow Victories, so we'll get to those eventually on this series. But Ice Cream Man is kind of a fun horror movie. I think the idea behind it, like Clint Howard being this Ice Cream Man who's very unsettled and you don't really know what he's going to do, but you know he's a little fucked in the head. It's pretty interesting to watch, and it's a little bit intimidating. I think the issue is they spend a lot of the movie focusing on the kids that are trying to take this man down, and a lot of movies wanted to do Goonies. A lot of movies wanted to do this group of kids that go on an adventure together, and we've seen it done successfully with stuff like Stranger Things. I have not seen seasons 4 and 5 of that, by the way, so I do not know where that is right now. I know people were not happy with the last season. But it was a good example for a while, at least. And then there's Goonies, and this movie tries to have that. It tries to capture that, but it's not well written. It's not well thought out. But excuse me, Jesus Christ. But whenever we're focused on the titular Ice Cream Man, it's pretty entertaining. It's pretty interesting. There's some good filmmaking in here. But it's also just a bizarre movie, too. There's some scenes that, like, legitimately don't make sense. Like, this movie is fucking bizarre in places. It feels like there's easy solutions to problems that are just not being taken. It feels like there's overreactions to things and underreactions to things. It's a terrible, 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 terrible script, but it feels kind of aware of that too. It feels like it does just want to be like this goofy ass movie. And there was an attempt to make a sequel, like a crowdfund for it, and I don't think this movie has some, you know, there's people who like this movie. It does have a little bit of a fan base to it, but it's not big enough for a crowdfunding, you know? It really isn't. If they ever did it again, if they ever tried to crowdfund it again, I'd give it a few bucks. I'd see what they're going to do with that. If they got Clint Howard back, even though he's not supposed to be alive. Spoilers for Ice Cream Man. I'm so sorry that I spoiled Ice Cream Man for all of you. But they could come up with any bullshit excuse. It could be him playing a different character, or he could just be alive for some bullshit reason, or he could be a fucking zombie doing I don't care. Like, this movie, the first film doesn't give you any reason to care about the logic of him being in a sequel. So they could do it. I would give it a few bucks. I would watch an Ice Cream Man too. Ghost in the Shell, the animated one, not the live action one. God, I gotta watch this again. Because this is a movie that Cass showed us for movie night, and it's clearly one that meant something to her, and it's one that I watched and I enjoyed it visually, and I thought it was neat, but it didn't quite click with me. I didn't quite get into it like a lot of people clearly have, because a lot of people were disappointed when that Ghost in the Shell live action, what was it, like Scarlett Johansson, I think, came out. Yeah, I'm ranking this one up as high as it is out of respect, because it is a spectacle to look at. But it didn't stick with me. It didn't click with me at all. That's not really a comment on the movie. That's a comment on, do I watch this again or not? Because yeah, it's worth, if you like anime, if you like good animation, it's worth it for that. I can't really comment on it otherwise, but it's the first movie on here that feels like it's probably legitimately a good movie. Next up we have Desperado, which I enjoy. I just don't enjoy as much as some of Robert Rodriguez's other movies, and people really praise this one, but it's another one that feels a little bit all over the place, and story-wise, not the best structure. It kind of introduces too many key elements at the end, and I think that's kind of the fun of some of his movies. Like From Dusk Till Dawn, it worked really well there, that they throw some weird shit at you at the end that wasn't really, maybe it was like slightly hinted at before, but wasn't a part of the movie up until that point. Honestly, my favorite scene in the movie is Tarantino, the bar scene with Tarantino, where he tells his story about how he won a bet about pissing all over bartender's bar without the bartender getting pissed off. Like, that's to me the best part of that movie, and it shouldn't be. Maybe it's another one I will rewatch too. Moving on, Jumanji. I loved Jumanji so much as a kid, and I have not watched it since I was a child, but I watched it a lot as a child. I thought it was so cool. I thought it was such a cool concept. And I liked the dark story to it. I liked that it's this kid who went missing for such a long time because of this board game, and then he finally comes back, and there's people from his life that remember him. And they kind of have to do a reset by the end of the movie. I thought there was like a lot of good tragedy in the movie on top of the fun concept of every single time they take a turn in this board game, something is going to happen. I think that's a great idea for a movie. I saw Zathura too, the follow-up to this movie, which was like not really a sequel, almost like more of a reboot, but maybe it was based on a story that was a sequel. I don't know. But I really enjoyed both of those movies, and they are childhood films. They are ones that I don't know if I'd still appreciate the same way. But I think there's something to say about the creativity. I think there's something to say about the idea. I'd like to watch Jumanji again. I mean, I really would. I have the fucking DVD in my room. Like, I put a bunch of... Jesus Christ. I might be getting sick, y'all. I have a bunch of shit like on my top shelf up there, and one of them is just Jumanji for some reason. I put it up there like a decade ago, and it just hasn't come down. It's up there with my Waluigi hat signed by Charles Martinet, and my like a little light that you can attach to your head. There's probably a couple. There's like papers up there. What's on those fucking papers? You know what? What is on those fucking papers? I see you, Jumanji. I haven't forgotten about you. You're just really dusty. Oh man, my Waluigi. You know what? We gotta dust my fucking Waluigi hat. I can't even read Charles' fucking signature on it now. Oh, there we go. Okay. No, it's still visible. It was just that's been up there for like 5 years. I got back from too many games. Put it up there. Michael. I'm gonna win. Charles Martinet, what a cool fucking guy. Alright, what's these papers? Okay, it's a bank statement. And another bank statement. So I clearly put them up there as out of laziness, and they've just been up there this whole time. This is notes to a client's video. And these are song choices for a video I was editing for someone, and they wanted this music in it. Okay, so that's just shit I put up there. Not everything up there had meaning. Oh my god, that's embarrassing. My respected shelf on the top and covered in dust, and most of it was just like shit I put up there because I was too lazy to throw it out. Alright, well, the Waluigi hat can go back up. The rest of that's getting thrown out. Let me look at this bank statement. This was, does it have a year? Does it have a year? It was 2015. In 2015, in January of 2015, I had $203.87 in my bank account. Not too bad. Not too shabby for a boy in college with no real job, no concrete job. Client work, mainly. Oh boy. Anyway. Jumanji's fun. A goofy movie. This one probably should be up above Billy Madison, which is above it, but I'm just for going in order's sake here. A Goofy movie is better than Billy Madison. It's one that I grew to appreciate more and more over time, and part of it just came from talking to people who appreciated it more than I did, and me kind of seeing value in it that I didn't see before, because I always liked it. I always thought the music was catchy. I always preferred an extremely goofy movie growing up, because it's just the one I saw more. A Goofy movie is objectively better than an extremely goofy movie. An extremely goofy movie is essentially a commercial that has some charming moments in it. But it was just the one my child brain saw. But a Goofy movie I'll revisit plenty more times. I'll probably talk about it on TV show movies because it's technically a Goof Troop movie. I really like it. It's really solid. I saw that documentary last year. Not just a goof, which I have opinions on that aren't all positive, but I overall appreciate that it exists. I just think it needed to get its head out of its ass a little bit. I'd accept what they did more if Disney wasn't actually the studio that put it out there, because it feels like there's a lot of self-worship in that documentary, and there's the need to make it whimsical made it less sincere because they really had to play it up. But we'll talk about Not Just a Goof. I'll get more into detail with that when we actually cover that on this eventually. A Goofy movie is fucking classic. It's super likable. It's a super lighthearted and fun movie. I enjoy it a lot. And I love the songs, and I love the relationship between the father and son. They capture it all really well. They have a good sense of humor. It's very memorable music. It's such a piece of its time too. It's such a 1995. Yeah, that's the fucking year this movie came out. And maybe if I was born just a few years before that, I would have appreciated this one more than an extremely goofy movie and the X Games. And I'm going to take a break now because the dogs have barked and they're starting to chain off like in 101 Dalmatians, because now the neighbor's dogs are barking, so clearly someone has been kidnapped. I'm so sorry. All right, let's keep this ball rolling. We got Billy Madison, which definitely should not be above a Goofy movie. Probably should not be above Jumanji or Desperado. Probably should not be above Ghost in the Shell. Probably should not be above Ice Cream Man. Probably belongs above Major Payne. I think that's where it is. But, I do have a lot of fondness for this movie growing up. And then I watched that Shea Frilla's Adam Sandler ranking video where he just fucking tore me apart for my enjoyment of this movie. And he meant it personally to me. He wanted me to feel bad specifically. So fuck you, Shea Frilla's. That was a good video, though. I gotta give him props for that. Billy Madison is just kind of a stupid movie, and its absurdity is what makes me laugh. I do think there's a few lame jokes in there. And I gotta say, actually, bringing up Shea Frilla's videos, he did bring up points that I never really thought about, and they're not really complicated points about the movie. It was just stuff I didn't think about because I watched it when I was very young. But it's it might be a little bit of a misogynistic movie at points. I can see that. I won't defend that. But it's also funny in other points. There's scenes I enjoy. I like the stupid song at the end because the clown that fell over and started bleeding and everyone was laughing because they thought it was a joke, like, that just seems like a one-time bit and you're not going to come back to that. And then in this fight, like this big climactic song, it's actually before the climax, he just starts joining in and singing about how you might have thought he was dead, but he actually didn't. I don't know why that's so funny to me, but it is. It's just like the fact that this character that by all means should not continue to be in this movie just comes in for the big musical number at the end. That just cracks me up. And I think Billy Madison is full of moments like that. I like how we meet more and more members of the O'Doyle family in this film, and at the end of it, they're all just chanting O'Doyle rules, and they drive off the fucking road, and they're continuing to say it as their car is about to crash. Like, it's just it's just pure silliness. It's just pure silliness, and I enjoy it. And I guess for me, like the only like over the top bit that I was never that into is the penguin, but I think a lot of people really love that. But I think for me it was just I don't know, maybe if he was like on drugs I'd be okay with it, but he was drunk and saw a giant penguin. I'm probably bringing way too much logic into this, but you're not going to hallucinate from drinking unless you like, I don't know, I feel like I was going to say unless you like really overdid it, but I still don't think you're going to hallucinate. You're going to pass out at that point, and then maybe you'll have a dream about a giant penguin, but you're not going to see a giant penguin in your yard just because you drank beer. It's stupid. That's where I draw the line in this movie. I accept the clown. I accept everything about Steve Buscemi's character, who's also hilarious. I don't accept that giant penguin. He needed to be doing something else for that to happen. I did think it's kind of funny at the end when everybody like kind of finds someone to be in love with. One of them picks the giant penguin. That's where the absurdity like went so far that it actually did become like kind of wrapped around and became funny. I like Billy Madison. It probably doesn't belong this high up. I wouldn't even recommend it to people because it's like such a time and place movie. There is shit in it that probably is a lot less acceptable by today's standards. And it's obnoxious and it's immature, but you know what? There was a time and place for me to enjoy a movie like this, and I remember it fondly. And I've watched it a lot of times. It's not like the last time I saw it, I was like a small child or anything. In fact, I probably didn't watch this movie as a small child. Probably would have been appropriate for me as a small child, but I definitely watched it young. but yeah, I like it. I don't recommend it unless you're like trying to watch all the Sandler movies, and then if you're trying to watch all the Sandler movies, you're already trying to torture yourself, so this will be one of the better ones, just because you can definitely do worse than this. Casino is next. I actually had this at number 1 when I opened this list up, and I dragged it back down, because this was like the one where I was like, I'm not even like acting like that's okay. It is a good movie, though. I like it a lot. I think after I first saw it, I was like on the hype of just seeing it, so I ranked it really high. But it's kind of an outlandish movie. But it's also kind of an outlandish movie, like with purpose, because it is based on something that actually happened. And the movie is kind of just in its own way trying to point out, isn't it fucking crazy that all of this was going on? Isn't it fucking wild that this is based on a true story? And I think it's just a purely chaotic film, and I really like it. I really like it. Is it as good as Goodfellas? I don't know. I want to say yes, but it's a little hard for me to say yes to that. Because I don't think it's structured as well as Goodfellas. I don't think its story is as strong as Goodfellas, but I think it's funnier than Goodfellas, which isn't Goodfellas' number 1 priority. But I also just think it's more entertaining than Goodfellas, but I think Goodfellas has like a more solid script than this one. But I don't know. What do you guys think of Casino? It's the first time I'm going to ask my audience who've made it this far what they think of that, because I really enjoy it. I personally really enjoy it, and I really love the performances in it. But it is long. It is like almost 3 hours long, and it is all over the fucking place. But again, I don't think it's like that without purpose. I don't know. I don't know. I need to watch it again. It hasn't even been that long since I watched it. I watched it like pretty early last year, but I just had a really good time with it. And yeah, I don't know. I wish I had more to say about it right now, but I'm kind of drawing a blank in some areas. When we make it to the movies, I almost feel like it's easier to talk about the movies that I don't like or I'm mixed on than the ones that I love. Because I do love Casino. This top 5 are movies that I love. And my number 1 especially, I don't even know what I want to say about it, because I feel like I could just give you the same review everyone could give it. Like, it's... I heard Matt Johnson recently say something, and I think I kind of agree with it. If you only look at the positive reviews, you're going to end up reading the same thing over and over again. Because he was like looking at reviews of his own movie, Blackberry, and he wanted to look at the bad ones because they would actually have some variety. I don't think that's entirely true, because I think that film breakdowns exist and I think film analysis exists, but when it comes to just kind of doing a ramble, I have to think about something like real specific that I like about it, or I need a story, or I need something. And I don't have that for Casino, even though I love the movie, and I don't have that for number 1 on here either. I think I do have that for these next 3, though. And one of them is Kickin' and Screamin', which is I had to bring up my friend Matt in a lot of videos. Where any video where I'm talking about movies, I bring up Matt just because Matt shows me, at this point, more than half of the movies I watch every single year, because I do a podcast with him where it's 2 movies a month. So he already has 24 guaranteed, and maybe sometimes more. When we did a Fantastic Four episode, that was what was that? That was 4 movies for an episode going up against each other. So last year he got 26 in there. And then there's Out of the Ring, which we do occasionally. Then there's Matt and the Gang, which we do every once in a while. Then there's Sick as Shit, which we do every once in a while. So Matt, and then we have movie nights. And then sometimes we just watch a movie for fun. You know, it doesn't even have to be tied to anything. So Matt really does contribute a lot. So I tell what I've seen in film, and a lot of my favorites are going to be movies I watched because of him. And Kickin' and Screamin' is the first movie he ever got me to watch, because we were acquaintances at this point. We had him on a show called Duckcast, with me and my friend Zach. And we hit a point during Duckcast where the whole show for a long time was just us rambling about whatever the fuck we wanted, kind of like this. And eventually it turned into, well, let's do a movie recommendation for every episode. So we definitely have a topic for the episode. Sometimes we would skip it, but we mainly had it. And when we had a guest on, they could pick a movie too. And we talked about 3 movies, and Matt picked Kickin' and Screamin'. And I just really loved this one. I really enjoyed it. And it's one that it has only grown on me even further. I think it's the perfect title for the movie too, because it's just a movie about, to me, I guess what I would describe it as, it's a movie about where adulthood actually starts for a lot of people, which is when you finish college. There's this little bit of leeway when you're in college where you don't really have to be an adult yet. A lot of people are, but a lot of people, they can still stay at home reasonably. They might not have a job while they're doing college. They might, but they might not. And they're just kind of figuring their shit out. They're figuring what their futures are going to be. And then when you finish college, it's like, okay, you did that part. Now you do need to figure shit out. And this is a movie about a bunch of people who have a very hard time doing that for different reasons. One character's trying to transfer to another school, but he keeps getting cold feet. He's too afraid to do it. One of them, genuinely, the one that we focus on, genuinely just doesn't know what he wants to do with his future at all. And then there's one guy who's older than all of them, and he just keeps signing himself up for classes, and you almost feel like the movie's going to paint him a really pathetic light for that. And I think some people could watch this movie and say that's really sad that he refuses to move on from college, but he's also the most well put together in terms of his own happiness, his own feeling of accomplishment, because he just loves to do that. He just loves continuing to learn stuff. And I mean, he's taking care of himself. He is not mooching off of others. He's found a life that works for him, and it involves him staying at that school and just continuing to take classes. And it's just, there's something to, I really respect that. I really respect a movie that doesn't paint taking your own path as a negative thing. And again, I do think that has to come with some sort of, there's got to be some sort of compromise to that. Like, you need to be, at least if you're going to live your life like that, you need to be willing to take care of yourself. But he does, and I think the movie's very interesting for that. And it's just funny on top of that. It's a really funny movie. Narrative wise, it's very like almost slice of life-ish, but like slice of life with a focus, with a point. I mean, most slice of life does have that, to be fair. But it is, the story isn't, there isn't too much stuff that happens narrative wise. It's just a lot going on with characters in a very specific point in their lives, a very specific situation. And yeah, I definitely recommend this one. This one's great. Avoid the Will Ferrell kicking and screaming. I mean, unless you want to watch that. I liked that when I was a little kid. We'll talk about that one eventually. Whatever year that got released, that's definitely on my list. But, but this kicking and screaming is much better than that kicking and screaming. Toy Story at number 3 now. Who doesn't love Toy Story? How can you not enjoy good old Toy Story? This is probably the most significant movie from the year I was born. I'd say it was. I think that like the two above it, some people would probably give it to those two instead. But I mean, I'm not even saying it's the best one, because I don't think it's the best one. But just in terms of like significance, this was the first CG movie ever, and it started Pixar. I mean, at least in terms of feature films from them. It's a pretty big milestone, and it's still a pretty beloved franchise up to the point where we're still getting spin-offs. We're getting a 5th movie, and I'm really clocked out of all of those at this point. I don't want to watch another Toy Story movie. I only saw Lightyear because Matt picked it for Hall of Victories. Otherwise, I would have fucking avoided that like the plague. But I have to appreciate this first one a lot, and the second and third one I like as well. But this one just it's fucking nostalgia. It's a memory, but I still think it's a relatively well-made movie. Obviously, I'm not the first person to make comments about the way the humans look and that dog looks, but yeah, you can definitely tell it's the first CG movie ever made. But a lot of it is timeless. A lot of it still manages to be timeless, and that's why they still make movies, even though those movies I would say are not timeless. Because they seem to want to focus on things like nowadays. They seem to want to focus on things that aren't timeless. We're doing like a fucking iPad for the next movie, I believe. Yeah. But the first one's pretty great, pretty special, and I would call it if I had to assign one movie for every single year, I think Toy Story would have to be the 1995 movie. It's the most notable for a lot of reasons. The Usual Suspects is next. The first time I watched this movie, I fucking hated it. I was bored out of my mind. The second time I watched this movie, it was just such a better view. And I know that twist means a lot to a lot of people, but I was so caught off guard by the film's pace in the first time and the way the story was being told. And then when the twist happened, it's like I had no reaction to it, because it was like I wasn't enjoying myself, so I didn't really care that there was a twist I didn't see coming. And I watched it in a film appreciation class in college that I dropped the first time just because I took it at a horrible time. It'd be like get off work and then I have to go to like college until like 8 p.m. to watch a movie, and I would just like I just kept bailing. Poor me, I had to go watch a movie. But I just kept bailing. But I was like, all right, the next year I was like, I would like to try that again, actually. And I was hoping that our professor there would have changed the movies up. She did not. So I watched like the same 6 movies for the first half of the class, and then I got to see the newer ones. And so I saw Clockwork Orange, and that's worth something. But The Usual Suspects on a second watch in that same class, it hit completely differently, knowing the ending. Like, everything was more fun to watch. And they say that a movie with a good twist is a different experience on your second watch. And I do have to say that about The Usual Suspects, that, yeah, it was a very different experience on a second watch because of that twist. But it's one that saved the movie for me. I think it's a movie where I preferred to know what was going on. Like, there are movies with big twist endings like Sixth Sense or Unbreakable where the first time watching those two movies was like so cool. I loved, like, I was so invested and I was so curious to figure out what the twist was going to be because I knew there was a twist going in. And then when it happened, I was just mind blown, mind completely blown away. The Usual Suspects, no, I did not enjoy it the first time. Maybe I was in the wrong mood too. That does happen. Sometimes you're just not in the mood for a movie or a specific kind of movie and you get stuck watching it. There's movies in that film class that of the first 6 where I watched them twice where I still didn't like them after watch number 2, but The Usual Suspects was one that won me over. I'd recommend it, although, fuck Kevin Spacey, but he didn't make the movie, so I mean, there's that. Oh fuck, you know what? Brian, this happened to me before. This happened to me recently. I was about to fall into it again. No, Bryan Singer made. Okay, see, yeah, fuck. I don't know. Fuck the people who made. Fuck a lot of the people involved in this movie, I guess. But the movie's good. But if you don't want to watch a movie by a piece of shit, starring a piece of shit, then there are other movies out there you could watch. Not everyone involved was a piece of shit, though. So. If you're curious, still check it out, I guess. It's not something that they made after getting outed, so there's I don't know. To each their own with that and how they want to handle that. I won't judge you. I'm talking about it. 12 Monkeys is number 1. It's just such a fucking well-made movie. It's so many so many films don't do time travel well. They'll like make up their own rules, which is fine. Obviously for someone that doesn't exist, you can make up your own rules, but then they won't follow their own rules. Even like major films that do this, fucking Avengers Endgame couldn't keep up with their own fucking time travel rules. And it's like, why? It's like, this is like one of the biggest movies ever. And you're not gonna make sure that your own rules for time travel make sense because it doesn't make sense in Endgame. I like Endgame fine, but I just seen there's another time travel movie that I hear people say like does it really well too. I mean, I love Back to the Future. I won't complain about that one at the very least. But 12 Monkeys just does it in such a clever way. They set up their rules, they follow them, and it's very enjoyable. And it has a great ending, and it has like phenomenal presentation. It is a Terry Gilliam movie who created the little hedgehog guy for my channel. I stole from this man, and he has yet to come after me, so I appreciate him, I love him, respect him, until he does come after me one day. All I'm gonna say is if you ever find my body, you know who did it. But he is a great filmmaker, so let him off with a warning. And this is like what I was saying, I don't really... if I watched 12 Monkeys like 12 minutes ago, if I just finished it, I could tell you, I could probably think of details to bring up about why this movie is great. But for now, it is just the generic. It's just a good story. It's just great performances. It's a concept that is apparently really hard to do well, and it does it well. And it's the fucking cinematography and sets in Terry Gilliam's movies are like phenomenal. He is a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful director. Brazil is another great like masterpiece. He is like a masterpiece maker. And he just doesn't, I don't think he makes that many movies though. He's like pretty slow. What else did he do? I'm gonna look him up real quick, because I haven't seen all of his work. I know he was partially like a co-director for Holy Grail. He did Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, which is... I mean, is that one a masterpiece? It's a great movie. I don't know if I'd go for masterpiece. I would call Brazil and 12 Monkeys masterpieces. Time Bandits. He made that. I never saw that. Was that even a movie or was that a show? No, it's a movie. So maybe I should check that out. But Brazil is fucking stellar. 12 Monkeys is fucking stellar. The Monty Python movies are good, but he's not like the sole director on any of them, I don't believe. And what's the other movie of his that I really want to see? I felt like there was one more. There's like a big list of stuff here, but it's not stuff I've seen or want to see. I don't know. He apparently made a movie called Absolutely Anything. No, he didn't. He was in it. He was in it. He was not the direct. He was just in it. And I heard that movie was awful. Anyway, that's it for 1995. Thanks for tuning in. Next time I'll actually talk about movies that I haven't talked about already. And that'll be nice. But it was kind of cool doing this one again since I added shit to it. Ever since the last time I recorded this, I've seen more stuff. More stuff got to be added to the discussion like Casino or Ice Cream Man. So, you know what? For that, it was absolutely worth it. Peace out, y'all.